A Marine vet claims his unit saw a UFO being loaded with weapons by unmarked U.S. forces. A former U.S. Marine breaks 14-year silence to reveal details of an amazing close encounter with a UFO while on active service in Indonesia back in 2009, claiming that clandestine U.S. troops were loading weapons onto it. An ex-Marine has broken his 14-year silence to come out with claims about seeing a flying saucer while serving in Indonesia in 2009. Not only did he, along with a few colleagues, see a hovering octagonal craft in the jungle, he also says it was being loaded with weapons by clandestine U.S. forces. The remarkable comments came from 33-year-old Michael Herrera, who served 4 years in the U.S. Air Force but has now turned whistleblower to reveal his extraordinary story. He also says he and his 6-man unit from the 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, Echo Company, 2nd Platoon, who were in the country on a humanitarian mission during the 2009 Sumatra earthquake, were threatened and told never to speak a word about the incident. Herrera, who was encouraged by a new UFO whistleblower protections to speak out and who testified under oath to the government UFO investigation team, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. And if you look at 3 videos before this one, the Pentagon has launched a new official website. I have the link to that. And the Senate, and they do have a few very interesting videos of unclassified UFO footage from the U.S. Department of Defense. Now, the Senate committee was rerouted to the Philippines at that time to Indonesia after a 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck Sumatra on September 30th, 2009. His unit's job was to help guard helicopter aid drops around Padang City, which had been plagued by violence from local insurgents. On October 8, after they had been dropped off in a clearing just north of the city, he hiked up a 900-foot ridge to wait for an incoming supply. It was then that the men witnessed the craft. Herrera told Daily Mail, "I could see something moving and rotating. It was changing colors between a very light matte gray to a very dark matte black. It stuck out like a sore thumb," he said. The thing was massive, the size of a football field. The craft was rotating in a clockwise motion while changing colors, he said. He said it had an audible hum to it. It was an octagonal shape with a pyramid at the top of it that was black, he said. It had scales that were on the outside of the craft that covered the whole craft. It had seems and sharp edges, which I suspect to be man-made, and it had some panels on the vertical edges that were like Vanta black. Herrera took some pictures and videos of the craft on his Panasonic camera, but a few days later the memory card and battery were stolen, along with his colleagues' phones. A former Marine said that when they got to within around 150 feet of the craft, they were suddenly ambushed by 8 men wearing all black camouflage, bulletproof vests, wielding M4 rifles, high-end night vision attachments, and with their weapons drawn, the men told the Marines before proceeding to load large weapons from modified Ford F-350 trucks onto the platform beneath the craft. When the last 2 trucks finished unloading and drove off, the lower part of the platform rose off the ground to about 10 feet, and the craft lowered to meet it, and it came together into one piece, Herrera said. It rose off the ground a little past the trees, then shot off to our left towards the ocean at around 4,000 miles per hour. From a dead stop, it didn't make any sound like a sonic boom. It didn't disturb the trees like rotor wash would. We could see coconuts on the trees and none of them were disturbed. The Marine unit eventually made it back to base, and none of them ever mentioned their bizarre encounter. But in early December 2009, Herrera was at Camp Hansen in Okinawa, Japan. He reported to the officer where an Air Force lieutenant colonel in full uniform but no name tag was waiting for him. Herrera said, "He starts telling me, 'You're not allowed to talk about what happened. not to your chain of command, not even a general. You will go to prison if you do. And after signing his non-disclosure, he ran back to the barracks and did not utter a word about the incident for the next 14 years. He served for 4 years and then became a millionaire entrepreneur and now runs a private security company called Valkyrie Eye. And after the UFO whistleblower protections were enacted in December, that prompted the ex-Marine to finally tell his story, but he claims his 5 former colleagues are too scared to come out and say anything. Herrera also said that in 2017, he met UFO activist Dr. Stephen Greer of the Disclosure Project, we all know him, at a conference, and he helped persuade him to talk and connected him with congressional and AARO staffers earlier this year. Herrera is also planning to tell his story at a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, and organized by Greer alongside 4 other UFO witnesses. So maybe the truth will come out concerning this. Very, very strange, isn't it? This is by Dominique Pixley on Express UK. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.